Greetings, YouTube. The title of this video is Anti-Racism is an Action. What do I mean by that? Well, racism itself is an action. I can't imagine that there's ever been a person in history that was thinking to themselves, I hate plaid people, and it was never more than a thought. That it had never, ever impacted any decision they made or any action they took. It's an action. A person that's a bigot, is going to make decisions based on that bigotry. They're not going to frequent stores owned by plaid people. They're not going to give jobs to people who are plaid. If they work at a company, they're going to make sure they don't get raises or promotions. They're not going to sell houses or rent to people who are plaid. They're going to do everything in their power to make sure that plaid people stay as far away from them as possible and have as little power and financial security and generational wealth as possible. So because racism is an action, anti-racism has to be an action. It's not just a thought. And it can't just be a trite statement like, well, I'm not racist. Okay, well, that statement means nothing. Anyone can say that. A racist can say that. In fact, many racists do in America. There are a lot of New England racists that'll tell you that, they're not racist, even though they live in communities that have homeowners associations and maybe even, legacies on deeds that prevent Black and Jewish people from moving into their neighborhoods. But that's all under the surface. That's behind the curtain. So they don't have to think about that. They don't have to think about the fact that homeowners associations were created specifically to keep Black and Jewish people out of their communities, because it's all behind legalisms now. That's an example of someone that can say, I'm not a racist, while in fact supporting racist institutions, because those racist institutions benefit them in some tangible way. They'll tell you it's all about property values, but it's also about keeping Black and Jewish people out of their neighborhoods. People that are anti-racist will make sure that tax dollars are not allocated to the communities that desperately need them. Why? Because it makes sure that those people will never invade their personal space. NIMBY, not in my backyard. So because racism is an action, subconscious or otherwise, anti-racism must be an action. This video is an anti-racist action. How I vote is an anti-racist action. My words are anti-racist because I am directly dealing with racism. I'm not saying some trite, I'm not a racist. I have benefited from racism. In the past, I have been racist. And while I strive to be an ally to minority racial groups in America, I know I fail. Doesn't mean I'm not going to keep trying. So just saying I'm not a racist isn't enough. You have to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. Because that's what matters. Are you willing to do the work to dissect your own racist past? Look at all your actions to make sure that they are not contributing to the system that is hurting minority groups in America. And it is the same thing for communities such as the gay community, the trans community, religious minorities. You have to make sure that you are not harming those communities, are not supporting institutions that are harming those communities. You can't just say, I'm not a homophobe or I'm not a transphobe. It's not enough. You have to speak up. You have to tell people, that's a racist thing you just said. That you said right there, it's really problematic, and here's why. Does it suck sometimes? Yes. Will it cost you friendships? Yes, it will. Tough. Deal with it. All those minority groups, they deal with it every damn day. They don't ever escape it. So if you're an ally, you're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to put yourself out in front, because the sad thing is there will be people that will listen to my words on anti-racism because I'm a really white dude, and they won't necessarily listen to a Black person. And that's That's part of the problem.